Ladies and gentlemen, it's a moving moment for me, certainly, and for the team who was involved in all this. And I would like, I started the conference with this reminder that this is the 15th forum, 15 years of Drucker Forum. And obviously there's the question, what's coming next? And when you are at the 15th forum, for me it was almost natural to think about the 20th forum. That's the next sort of celebration we hope to have. And so what is our idea? Will we continue to do what we have done? Or are there some new things that we should think about? So what is next? And let me show you, let me unveil to you what we believe should come next. We call it the next management. I mean, you have heard a lot now. I mean, this was the perfect setup, right? But it was, as you can tell, it was a panel which knows what they are talking about, so they don't need to be prompted in some way by us from the Drucker Forum. But it's perfect, yeah? It's a perfect segue. So the next management is really building on this idea. We cannot continue as we did, right? We must change something. And it's about, Drucker talked about management as practices, yeah, the practice of management. And of course, there's a discipline of management behind it. And it is about, in the center, about performance, not only business performance, but performance in society, as we have heard, performance in the environment, in a changed and continuously changing world. So that's our notion. I can tell it as an anecdote. Since we were talking about management 1.0 as the industrial age form of management, we said, well, the next one would be 2.0. And then we got a lot of people telling us that's not such a good idea. The World Economic Forum is already at 4.0. So the next management expresses in a better way what Drucker also tried to express for society. He called it the next society. So we are latching on to this. Now, I cannot give you a run-through because I think some of you may have a flight to catch, right, or a train or whatever, some plans in the evening. But I think you had a perfect example now in this panel. What are typical elements of this, what we are talking about? And just a glimpse in terms of, well, yeah, innovation, it doesn't mean efficiency goes away, but innovation must have a much higher role. The enterprise as an entity doesn't go away. Other institutions don't go away, but ecosystems are decisive, and it's more and more institutional ecosystems. This, what we call societal enhancement versus narrow gains, it's no longer acceptable that the individual company has just their narrow objectives. You have heard about that. But we must elevate management again to the level where it should be. This is again the point which was just made. It's a role in society. That's what Drucker said all the time. Technology, and that will be the hard one, I tell you. Technology as augmenting the human being and not automating everything. I have still big doubts, and that's me personally, and I may be proven wrong, that a lot of the artificial intelligence hype will come true. I think there are areas where you can get perfect results from artificial intelligence, but there are areas where it would be a disaster if you believe what artificial intelligence may give you, because we will be reminded the human being is not just a machine or a purely rational entity. Fortunately, we don't work like this. And do you think that OpenAI would have the conflict if the human being would be so perfect? They would have this type of discussion that they have at the center of those who develop AI. So there's something more about it. And it was also said, this question about arts. And that reflects also the human being and the uniqueness of the human being, because what certainly doesn't work anymore and what came from the industrial age is this one-size-fits-all idea. That doesn't work. So art gives you the idea that human beings are all different. Yeah, and the human society and human groups are something with their own dynamics. So I think we can learn a lot without giving up science, because science will be important for the future as well. But we need to rebalance. So we as the Drucker Forum, of course, we are a small entity. Yeah, we will try to make our contribution. The first contribution is that we try to give it a name. You need a language when you do something, when you want to change something. So we start with this language element of the next management. And we want to use our strengths. Our strengths are this, convening people, and not just people, but we think the best of the best in terms of practitioners, in terms of thinkers and audience. I'm always saying we want to have the best audience as well, but participating. Catalyzing ideas, because the role, I think the notion of catalyst came up strongly, and catalysts means really to do the things which get the whole process going without constantly pushing, right? So we can have a catalyst role, and we can be one of the catalysts who helps to bring things together. It's interesting, by the way, that Peter Drucker, when he started dealing with management, he said, I was looking around and there was no management book. There were books about bits and pieces, right? And what I did is I tried to bring it together, to put it in some system, to make it a system as such. And we are not Peter Drucker, unfortunately, but we are at least inspired by his ideas. And with the help of others, I think we can contribute to this. And last but not least, what we plan to do, what we have announced last year, is to celebrate advances. And we had, some of you may know, we have announced the Vienna Medal for Management Innovation. And we will start next year with the first round of this Vienna Medal, and it will be aligned with these ideas. And that will also be a small contribution. Now, there is, I mean, ideally, I would just add the one thing. We think about this 5 years period where we have this vision, we call it sometimes leitmotif, right? The next management. Think about it as a book. We want to write a book, and it should be ready by the 20th forum. And each of the forums might be a chapter and should be a chapter. That's a big vision behind it. And that will, I think, will inspire our own teams and our community, we hope. And what we wanted to announce here, and by the way, I haven't mentioned the subtitle because it was sometimes said, do we have to reinvent management? Do we have to redo it in some way? Our approach is, and we think it's a Drucker-inspired approach, is reframing management for the 21st century. There are good things, there are things that don't work, but it's about taking a new perspective and renewing it this way. So we will have an invitation to a broader community. You have here a QR code. So if you want to sort of use because everybody has their iPhone always ready, so the QR code is there. So please feel free, put your name in, and as participants you will get the information anyway. But we will start a process, and in this we take the first step because you have also an input to the process already. And the next step will be an event, a virtual event that we plan for March, first half of March, where we will have some input gathered and where we will sort of specify more specifically what we're going to do and how this will play out. So that's the big overview. I hope you will join us, and I'm saying you will join us. I'm saying this also to all those who are on the live stream, because we are live streaming this session as part of the Drucker Forum TV program. So please join us and inscribe yourself, subscribe to this invitation.